While we all know the importance of planning to productivity, we also know that it's not always so easy, and for some people it's a little harder than others, and I am one of those people who really has a difficult time with planning. I buy calendars and planners and watch videos and all this and sit down to plan, and I just never really know how to go about planning. I've even taken courses and all that to try to plan, and I just don't do very well with it. So when I came upon this method that I've been using for planning, I got very excited about it, and I wanted to share it with some of you who may have the same struggles as I have. Hello everyone, my name is Sherry from Rolling Acres Education. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if this is not your first time. So as I said, my video for this week is on productivity, and I'm just going to tell you right up front that most likely it will be 2 videos because I'm very excited about this and I want to make sure I get all the information in. And I am horrible at planning. I usually just, or at least before this, I used to just sit down and think, okay, I got time to work. What should I work on? I kind of ran my business by the seat of my pants. And I still have a long ways to go, but this is really, really helping me. It's gotten a little better each month. And a couple things I want to share to begin with is number one, at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about some timers that I've linked below that have really helped me with productivity. And I also want to tell how this got started. I believe it was our June challenge. We did a challenge on productivity, and Lauren gave us some tips, and she also gave us this worksheet that we used, and most of us colored it as we went. When we finished something that she gave us to do, we colored it in. And I loved it, and it was great. The only problem was that the next month I had to come up with my own stuff because she had done it the month before. Now I'm thinking, okay, now how am I going to do this? And I've come up with a little system. And the one more thing I want to tell you before we get started is that no system is perfect. I'm not telling you you're going to get everything done. I'm telling you you will probably get more done, a lot more done. And you'll be able to see what you've done is another thing I like. So the first step, and this is the most important step, and that is to have a brain dump. Now, if you've never done a brain dump, it is totally different than brainstorming. In brainstorming, you're trying to come up with ideas. You're focused on like one kind of event or a goal or something, and you're trying to come up with ideas to create that project or to create that event or figure out steps to do something. And also, brainstorming is done better with a group of people, and it usually has to do with more than one person, and it's just a group, and the more people you have involved, the more ideas you can come up with, and the better. However, brain dumping is an individual process. This is something you have to do yourself, and you're not trying to think up new things. You are trying to get, I love the term brain dump because you're trying to dump what's in your brain onto the paper so you can clear your mind. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One is because when you're working on your projects, a lot of times you're also thinking about all these other things you should be doing. And when you do this brain dump, you know that you've dumped everything on there, you've got it all written down, and you're making time to do the things that are most important. And you don't just, we're talking about teachers pay teachers here, but this is for everybody. You don't just dump one category. You dump everything. If it comes in your mind, no matter how stupid it sounds, no matter how unimportant or whatever, if it's in your mind, you need to get it out of there. So you're going to, whatever comes into your mind, you are going to dump it onto that paper, whether it's about TPT, feeding your dog, remembering to mail some kind of bill, checking your email for something, sending an email, making a phone call, planning an event. It can be something huge, it can be something small. It's just whatever comes into your mind, you're going to write it down on that paper, no matter what. That is the number one rule. If you think it, you're going to write it. Okay. So a couple of things I want to tell you about this is number one, you will set a time between 3 and 5 minutes. For some reason, 4 minutes works for me. It depends on you. Most people say 3 to 5 minutes. 4 minutes just seems to work for me. Everything goes on the page. Again, this is the number one rule. If it comes in your mind, it goes on the page. Next, even though you're writing fast and handwriting is not important, you would think you're going to remember everything you say, but there have been times when I've written something, I've been like, what the heck is that? And I honestly couldn't remember what I'd written. So you at least want to write it to where you are going to be able to read it yourself when you go back to see. And when you first start this, you might want to do a little pre-thinking. I always kind of do. Always before I get started, I think of a couple of things that I can write to kind of get me going. And then once I get 3 or 4 things written, the other ones just start to flow. Okay, this is my brain dump, and of course there's really not that much to see right here, just showing you that I just went through and wrote a bunch of stuff. The writing is not great, and this is about how many things I wrote in 4 minutes. Now my first list was a lot longer, and it's getting shorter because I'm getting things that I've been thinking about for months and months and months onto this paper, and that's what's so cool about it. It's not just things that are like on my mind now, it's things I've been trying to get done for months and months and months. And as I do more and more, the list gets shorter because it's becoming more now just things that are important to me or urgent or whatever right now or in the short-term future. So this list has gotten shorter. Okay, so step number 1 is to do a brain dump. Okay, step number 2 is to categorize. Okay, so you're going to put things in categories, and so that you don't have to write all that out, I just use highlighters of all different colors, and what I do is I highlight the things on the list based on their categories. Of course, I have TPT, so I highlight, maybe in green, everything that has to do with TPT, things that are family related, and, maybe pink, finances in yellow, whatever, and you just do a different color, and I wouldn't do any more than 5 categories. Usually, mine are like TPT, family, finances, home stuff, like stuff around the house I want to get done, and I have a little fun category. And so yours will probably be different, but just grab you some highlighters and just highlight different colors of things that you want to make categories of. Now, of course, yours would be different, and you can just write it out. You can write home and then go through the list and write all that stuff. And so this is what my list looked like when I got done highlighting it. And I had several different categories. Some I had a lot, some not many. Doesn't really matter, okay? So that's step number 2 is to categorize. Put all your things you've brain dumped, and if they're just random things, then have a color for random things. Okay, it doesn't all have to go in a category. That's not important. It's just going to help you here in a minute. Okay, step 3 is to prioritize, and for this I loosely use something called the Eisenhower matrix, which is urgent and important, urgent but not important, important but not urgent, and neither. And there's different ways to do this. Different people tell you different things, but this is how I do it. If it's urgent and important, it's something that you absolutely have to do, and it has a deadline. It's very important. It's going to be bad if you don't get it done. And so, like your taxes, okay? Your taxes would be a great example. Your taxes have to be done, and they have to be done by April 15th or whatever. There's a deadline, and it's something that you have to get done, okay? Second is urgent but not important. And these are things you really want to do, and if you're going to do them, they have a deadline. Maybe like a coupon. Like maybe you have something you've been wanting to buy, and you've got a coupon for it, and if you don't, it's not going to be the end of the world, but you really, really want it. And if you're going to do it, it has to be done by a certain time. So those are the things I look up as, they're urgent, they have a deadline, but like life will go on if you don't get them done, but you want them done, okay? Important but not urgent are things that they have to be done, but there's no deadline. Now, your taxes could be this also. If it is, July, and you're looking at getting your taxes done for April, and you're like, you know what, I need to start working on this, okay? Then it's important. You have to have your taxes done, but it's July and they don't have to be done until April. But you want to do a little bit at a time, so you might have just do a small portion of it. So it's important. You need to do your taxes, but you really do have till April. And if you don't get it done this month, it's not going to be the end of the world. You still have more time to do it. That's how I look at important but not urgent. Okay, it's usually something that is going to become urgent eventually. Okay. And then the last is, it's not really that important. Life will go on if you don't do it, and there's not really a deadline. And this may be like, something you're looking forward to doing in the future, and it's important to you, but like, if it doesn't happen, it's not going to be the end of the world, and you really don't have a deadline for it, but you really want to do it, so you want to keep it on the list, and it's something you can do if you get time. And a bit down the road, let's say that you want to do a course, okay? And it's like, I want to do a course, but, it's not really important right now, but I want to keep it in my mind, so you keep putting it on the list every month until eventually it can become up into one of those other categories. Now, some people use, delegate, eliminate, schedule, and something else. I just use this for my little things that I'm going to show you here in a minute. And this is what my priority list looks like. This is what it looks like. This is all the same thing. I use the same paper for all of this. And I make my brain dump, and then I highlight right on there, and then I put out to the side. I, you, or, I, you, neither. You can see what I did right here. Okay. So this is as far as I'm going to go today, because I don't like my videos to be more than 10 minutes. So I'm going to do the first 3 steps today, and then the second 3 steps in the next video. And I hope this helps you, because the fun part is coming up next. So go ahead and do those first 3 steps. And I'm also going to teach you how to keep it fresh throughout the month, and maybe some things that you left out, or maybe some things that maybe you don't need to do. And we will talk more about that in the next video. But just remember, you got this, God's got you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.